Hello and welcome to The Insecure Chef. Sorry if I was staring at you, I didn't realize the camera was rolling. Welcome back. We haven't been a while, so I thought it'd be time to cook up something that I know I enjoy it as well as Regina. Today we're going to be playing with pork. In this case, we're going to be making pork Schnitzel. I guess that would be, in German, that would be Schnitzel, maybe? Sein, I think is pig. Anyway, Wiener Schnitzel, of course, being done with veal, and we also do a chicken Schnitzel since we all love them. But today we will doing with pork. Here is the patty that I've made it into. Essentially, this is basically a boneless pork chop that has been pounded out. All right, you can see the indentations and really breaking it up so that it's nice and thin. Okay, we'll be working with that. And I've set up a breading station. You'll see that behind me here. But before we begin, you can see this array of spices in front of you. Now, before you turn off the video and say, I'm not going to work with all these spices, I don't have all this, you don't need a fraction of these. This is simply a recipe that I use. But in your case, if you just want to make it straightforward and simple, salt, pepper, maybe some oregano or rosemary or whatever you want or don't want. In this case, in the recipe, this is what I'm using. Once again, don't be intimidated by it. Just use the spicing or lack thereof to your content. Okay? So, as I said, this has already been mixed up and it goes directly into the Panko breadcrumbs, which is the last step of the breading station. It's already been mixed in there and just whisked around. So, going from the actual beginning point, we're going to be taking the pork cutlet, I'll call it for lack of a better word. I'm going to run it through the flour, and this flour has paprika in it. Again, you don't have to remember anything I'm saying right now. It's all written down for you. So I'm just mixing this up here and dredging it with the flour, which has paprika in it. And you get a nice coating on it. Just shake off the excess if there is any. All right, and then it just goes directly into the egg. The egg is just a hand-scrambled egg. You can put a little water in it if you like it for any reason. But that's all that. And let any excess drip out because you're not trying to create French toast. And now we're going to go over to the Panko, which I said already has all the seasoning in it. That's going in there now. Now the Panko, as you know, is kind of a sharp, physically sharp breadcrumb. So what you want to do is you want to press it down to get those crumbs to stick on the pork. So just a little pressure downward like that. Okay, make sure you get all of it covered. Okay, there we go. All right, that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to move this over to the dish here. And now we'll repeat the same step with the second cutlet. Now, we're only making 2 cutlets tonight. There's only 2 of us. And each one of these should be more than enough, at least for our appetites. Obviously, I'm going to be doing this in the Ninja Foodie. So keep that in mind that you want to get cutlets cut so that you can get at least 2, if not more, into the basket of the foodie. And if you have a lot more you intend to make, then you'll just do these in batches. All right, so let's get the flour on there. All right, well, that's looking pretty good. Just about done with that. All right, and now over to the egg again. And that wash down there like that. I feel I should have German music going in the background. Maybe one day when I have the energy to figure out how to do that, I shall. All right, get the excess egg off, then finish it here in the Panko. Again, pressing down significantly for that. And if you need more Panko, just add more of it. I'll move this over here and kind of get it piled up a little bit. All right. Okay, now ideally, what you want to do is to make sure that the crumbs do stay on the best they can, is once this step is completed, if you have the spare time of maybe about 15 minutes, I suggest you take these finished crumbs this finished crumb step. And now I would suggest what you can do is put it directly in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. That kind of helps the crumbs to settle a little bit and gives you a better chance of keeping them on the meat during the cooking process. So there you go. They're ready, and theoretically they're ready for cooking, but we're going to give it 15 minutes. So we'll be back shortly. All right, we're back. Thank you for staying with us anyway. The cutlets have been sitting 15 minutes in the refrigerator. There they are. They don't look much different than they were when we first did them, but it does help to keep the breadcrumbs to stick on the meat, especially with the panko. The panko sometimes will just come flying off if you don't get it stuck in there. Regular breadcrumbs, not so much, but nonetheless. So we're going to be using the Ninja Foodi, as I said. I'm going to turn this on now, and we're going to be air frying these. Basically, if you have this machine, you probably know by now how to use it, but we will be working on air fry, and we will be working at 390. I'm probably going to try to cook these cutlets probably in about 8 minutes, but we'll be checking it. Cutlets, pork, you'll need to get to 145 degrees internal temperature for safety. I'll be getting just about to that point when I take them out. They will cook a little bit more afterwards, but you should get as close to 145. I highly recommend that you don't go above that. These are thin and they will dry out. So I'll try my best not to do that as well. So, I don't know what my wife has been pointing out. Maybe the the machine blinking.
And the meat.
And the meat. Okay. So, let's see if I can get these guys in there. If you're not familiar with the machine, Regina, why don't you take a quick tour of the center of that so you can get an idea of what we were putting this in. Okay. So that's what it is. That's the inner basket. So I'm going to be taking 1 pork cutlet. Here it is. And I'm putting it in there now. And hopefully I'll have just enough room to get the second one in. I'm taking the second one there now. And I'll be placing that in there. And as soon as I get them in place, you'll get a good look at what they look like. And if they overlap, try to avoid that as much as you can. But you can certainly, as you start to cook, you can certainly start to squish them a little bit. All right, so there they are. And we'll be ready to go for air frying. What I'll be doing is probably 3/4 or so into the air frying. That's about done. I will be spritzing the top, which is a little olive oil, just to get it at least nice little golden color. Okay, so here we go. Close up. We'll move over to the air fry step. See, it's set for air fryer. I'm going to keep it at 390. And as I said, I'm going to go down to about 8 minutes. And keep in mind, if I'm not happy that they're not cooked completely, I'll just add a little more time. But I'm going to start with 8, and about 5-6 minutes into it, I'll open it up. I'll check temperature. I'll give it a little spritz of olive oil, and then we'll finish the process. So, here we go. And we'll be back in a few minutes when we get ready to take a look at them. Okay, we're going to check and see how we're doing. At this point, we will spritz it with a little oil. And take a look in there. You'll see it's browning up nicely. Okay. And what I did just prior to coming on camera, I gave it a couple of spritz of olive oil just on the top. Not much. You don't want this to be oily or anything. It's the whole point of the air fryer. You hardly use any kind of oil at all. So with that, I'm going to take a quick temp. But I'm confident that these will be at temperature. Oh yeah. I said 145, this is 148, 147, 148, and this one is 144, 145. Okay, so they're ready to come out. Any background noises you're hearing is my dog is having an allergy attack. So I'm going to scoop this in here now. Get that baby out of there. Put one on here. For the moment, the other one goes there. And there we go right now. And of course, if you want them darker or whatever, you can put the oil on earlier. That way it'll get darker as it cooks. But the only exception so far I had to make was I said 8 minutes. I really needed 10 to get to this state. Keep that in mind. The air fryers are different. They're hot, exceptionally hot. And the thickness of the cutlet will make a difference. So we'll be back in a moment as we finish up the plates. Okay, we're back. Here's our dinner plate for this evening. For this, tonight, we're simply using a sweet potato and some applesauce. Now, again, you can go crazy on this now. You can add your other condiments if you want. Some people put gravies on these. One of the most popular gravies for the pork schnitzel is a mushroom gravy. But obviously, any gravy would be good, or no gravy at all. So, for the Insecure Chef, this is Al saying thank you very much. And for my lovely wife,
have a good night.
And thanks again. Take care.